Well, thank you for coming on the red carpet round table.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Can you let the audience and everybody else know who you are?
Sure, I'm celebrity magician and mentalist Josh Pele Magic.
And what got you into to be a magician?
Yeah, I think my story is definitely very different than most, if not all, magicians and mentalists. Typically, they find a spark when they're little, they're mind blown when they're little, something occurs along those lines that gets them hooked. For me, I never had that inclination growing up. I was just an athlete growing up, and in my 20s, I was on a trip to Italy, and during my stay there, I ended up creating a magic trick. Now, I had no idea whether it was good or not because I wasn't a magician. So, the only logical explanation or conclusion from there is to try it out on strangers and see what they think. The responses were so positive that I became hooked, and now that's what I get to do.
That's absolutely amazing. And of course, you won rewards for being a magician. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've won many.
And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And when do you what do you remember winning? Sorry, my tongue twisting. What do you remember winning your first reward?
Well, the first award, what was it? It was probably in the first year. I think I was honored at a banquet or a gala for my contributions to a charity. I think that was the very first one, and then over the years, I just got a lot more. I started doing more charity, so I got more volunteer stuff, more awards. Then I started getting performance-based stuff. Apparently, there's a lot of different creativity awards that people nominated me for. Recently, in December, there was two really big ones. One, I got a Muse Creativity Award for social entertainment, and that's from my language series. So I perform street magic in different languages. I've done it in 10 languages to date. I've only recorded in four languages. So the other six I haven't put up yet, but I will put up on YouTube. That one got an award for creativity and unique content form. And then the other one, I won Magician of the Year in 2025. So hopefully I can win it again this year. So we'll see what goes.
Wow, did you say 10 languages?
Yeah.
So, what 10 languages are there?
So English, Russian, Spanish, and Portuguese are the four where I'm good at anything, like speaking, talking, not perfect, but I can make my way in those countries or any country that's primarily speaking those. And then the other languages I perform for are Swedish, Indonesian, Ukrainian, Italian, Yoruba, and I think there's one more I might be missing a ton, but those were just ones where I had learned for the video or for the project. So those aren't ones where I claim to be fluent. I'm not fluent in all 10, not by a long shot, but I can perform in all 10. So I have or can or could still do it all of them.
hmm And what made you want to learn those 10 languages?
Thought it was a fun challenge. I think for me, when I was at three languages, kind of my whole life had been around three, and I wanted to do a fourth. I tried Portuguese, didn't work. Tried it again, and it worked really well, really fast. And I was like, oh, I'm at four. Why not do more? And then I had an opportunity, a show that I was booked for in Sweden. It was at the end of November, about 2 years ago. I think it was 2024. And I thought, once it hit November and I'm like, my trip's coming up, I was like, maybe I should just learn Swedish. Why not? So the first time I ever had to crash course a language came that time. And I was like, let's try it. Crash coursed it for the entire month of November, well, a little less because I didn't go the last week. I went the third week.
hmm
Went to Sweden, did my show in English, obviously, but in my downtime, I was going around the streets, the cafes, the bars, the museums, the clubs, and only doing magic in Swedish. I recorded it all, put it on YouTube, and it was a really fun video to make. So I was like, I want to make more. That's the video that won the award. So it's nice to get recognized about a year later. And, that made me realize, like, in terms of learning a language, that's very difficult. And it's got its nuances. But in terms of me continuing my series, I can really be up and running in 2 weeks per video. So if I have the place to do it or the reason, like I'm going to that country or an event, then if I have the free time and the motivation, I know I can do it. So I'll go after it. It should be fun and see where it takes me.
That's absolutely amazing that you can speak. I mean, I know you said not fluently 100% most of the language, but it's amazing that you can speak 10 languages. So,
Yeah, in their own
that's to me,
capacities.
that's really, really cool. So, what is your favorite magic trick that you've done?
Ooh, it's a tough one. I mean, I think I get my my experience or my joy from different tricks based on reactions that it gives. So any trick that will give almost anyone a guaranteed shock factor that's higher than the average one is always going to be a favorite one. I think picking one is a little difficult, but the ones that always come to mind are anytime I produce a live animal, I do it a little differently than the cliche or stereotypical rabbit in a hat. So I think those tricks always do it because I make animals sometimes appear in people's hands, which I know sounds really weird, but if you see the trick live or you see me perform it on TV, you'll understand what I mean by that. I think those are always going to hit. Anything with an animal is always going to be an extra factor. Any of the mentalism stuff is always going to get more personal, right? Like, how am I guessing this information? I think all of it is fun. I can't pick one more than the other. I think it really depends on the trick. So, like for example, if
Right.
I do one of my favorite ones and you freak out, that's my favorite trick. But if I do a trick that doesn't usually get, terribly insane reactions, and I run into a person that just happens to really freak out, now suddenly that's my favorite moment. Like it's based on the people's response to it.
hmm Um, I gotta be curious. How do you get an animal in someone's hand?
Yeah, it's just the same channels. It's just the same way you change a card, same way you get information. You're using typical magician skill set. You're using sleight of hand, misdirection, and hoping they don't notice. Realistically, a lot of times it is like, there's moments that happen under the cover, and in theory, anyone could notice. They just if they know what to look for. The beauty of magic is most of the time they don't. So I use that premise to kind of guide my way into to getting things in certain places, and hopefully it works out. It doesn't always. I mean, nothing's ever perfect, but the more you do it, the more accurate you get, and the more nuances you start to understand of the mechanics, and the better you become at it.
That's really awesome. I'm really excited. And then you said people can see you on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Josh Pele Magic on all platforms. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn. I go everywhere now. I just try to grow the brand and be everywhere. I want everyone to be able to see my stuff. I like what I do, and by doing it in different languages, it exposes me to a greater audience. I just want everyone to be impacted in some positive way from it.
And it's gonna make people laugh, make people happy, and I think for me, magic is so cool because it brings people to the happy moment, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, peace and stuff like that.
Definitely. It's all about creating, experiences. It's one of the very few things, if not the only thing I can think of, where when I approach someone or I have a minute or two with someone, it doesn't matter what's going on in their lives, whether they're happy, sad, depressed, mad, angry, whatever. Those 2 minutes I have them, they forget about that all and they're present. It's very hard to find something that could make someone shut off what's going on in their world for even 1 minute. So to know that whatever time I have, that's what I get. It could be 1 to 5 minutes. I feel like it's a pretty insane statistic.
Wow. Can you describe yourself in 3 words?
3 words: ambitious, creative, crazy, but I would add in a good way.
People must be wondering, what do you mean crazy? So I gotta
I think
ask.
I think just like the types of challenges I put myself to, right? Like it's one thing to say, hey, let's try connecting with a new culture and doing magic in a different language. That makes sense. You take your time, you plan it out, you study. It's another thing to today is January 26th. I decide this language that I've never spoken, I don't know a single word, I'm going to do in 2 weeks. So to then just today decide in 2 weeks that you're going to learn a language, perform it fluently in public. I think there's a lot of factors that make people think, one, he's doing this publicly, he's not embarrassed, that's crazy. Two, in 2 weeks, that's crazy. I think the not the pressure, the constraints I have on the projects I come up with, whether it's the time frame, whether it's the nuances. I think one of those alone, people would think that's kind of crazy. When you have all those factors in play, when one is already crazy, two or three people are, all right, this guy's just something must be wrong with him. But again, in a good way, it's not a bad thing. I think I come up
Right,
with very
right.
specific, very difficult things, but they're fun and I somehow do it. I think that's the other thing is like not being afraid of failure. It's okay if I don't do it, but I'm not going to be someone that wants to fail. So I find a way to do it. And then once I do, even I'm kind of like, how did I do that? Like the Indonesian one, I was extremely busy. I didn't have as much time to do it compared to the Sweden one, and it still worked out. So I was like, okay, like something's going on, or I'm learning something. Something's some new skills being developed that I need to understand what it is and how do I can replicate it.
Right, that's so true. Don't be afraid to do anything. Take some challenges and go for it. That's
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure. When's your next big event for you to be?
Big event. I mean, I do a lot of corporate events. I think every corporate event I do is pretty large. It's usually for, the executives of the company and all their employees. I do that at least, like every weekend or stuff like that. That's private stuff. I think those are the biggest shows I do. Those are stages where I have like a couple 100,000 people, depending on the company. Um, but I think everything I do is big as in its own, retrospective. Like tomorrow, I have an event. It's only 10 people, so it doesn't sound big, but the impact is good. It's actually a event for kids that are dealing with trauma. They're
Hmm.
still kids, so it's not childhood trauma. It's trauma they're still dealing with. They've had stuff that no one should really go through. It's traumatic, and especially at their age. And so there's a beneficiary dinner for them tomorrow, and I'm going to be participating in it and performing for them. So I think that's a big event. It's not big in terms of size, but I think it's big in impact. So pretty much everything I do can be big, either literally by size or by impact. And I definitely do a good job of balancing those two, doing a lot of events that are big in the impact way and also big in the size way because the business has got to grow.
That's amazing that you're gonna do that for the kids to, um, bring them happiness and positive, and to me, it shows there's a purpose in life, and that's what you do and make people happy as being a musician. So, um, amen. Keep it up.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you always have to try to make an impact in someone's lives for the better. And if you're not helping at least one person, then you're probably doing something wrong. Anyone can help others. It's really easy. All it takes is one action. It could be as small as a compliment or opening the door. So I think when it's that simple, there's no
Hmm.
reason everyone shouldn't be doing it in their own way or their own version.
Right. And I'm not sure if I asked you, but what do you enjoy the most about being a musician?
It's definitely the reactions, like you said. Like it's one thing to make an impact, it's another thing to feel it. Like when you do things for other people, it's nice to have that feeling that what you did paid off. You don't do it for that reason, right? You don't need to see the rewards or reap the rewards. You do it because you're a good person, it's a good thing to do. But at the same time, right? Like if you're helping children, you can see them laugh or smile. If you're helping others, and you can see them appreciate or thank you. Like it's a nice feeling to see. Same thing when I'm performing. Like there's reactions where you see those people just enjoy, go back to like their childhood ways. Like they're energetic, they feel like kids, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're dancing. It's a feeling that never gets old. I think that's definitely the best part.
That's amazing. And can you share your competitive races that you've done?
The races, yeah, I mean, I got back into running, like, or I guess I never really was a runner in November. I was like, oh, why don't I sign up? Why don't I just try to run for fitness? And then I found out a few things. One, the stuff that I already do, like the street magic, is community engagement because I'm volunteering my time to help the sponsors, to help the staff and volunteers. So I didn't realize that that was like a beneficiary project, and people look for people with resumes like that. So that helps me get onto other volunteer projects that may be harder to apply or register for. And then in terms of big races, I haven't done like something that's like huge nationwide. Maybe the Skechers run. I did the
Mm-hmm.
15K. That was a
Mm-hmm.
good one. That was about a little 15 kilometers, like 9.3 miles, so a little under 10 miles. It's the longest one I've done. Debating doing the New York City Marathon this year. I might do some marathon. Why not? But yeah, mostly I just do like different 5, 10, 15K races that I could find and team up with different charities. So far I've done stuff for cancer. I've done stuff for military veterans. I've done stuff for ROTC programs in colleges. I've done stuff for medical clinics that help people without medical insurance to get like different treatment and care if they don't have either the money or the insurance. Or the other ones I've done, yeah, there's like a long list of charities. I don't necessarily have one type of cause that I care about more than the others, where I'm like, I'm the guy for this. So I kind of just get involved in everything. So I do a little bit all. Like I said, there's tomorrow could be tomorrow literally is for me as of today the childhood trauma. Then the next day could be something for cancer. The next day could be
Mm-hmm.
research. Last week I did a gala for special needs adults and children. So I just do whatever races either have a cause attached to it or a cause I could get involved with. and go from there. But bigger ones, probably any marathon. But I'm not currently registered for any, so I can't really say I have like a huge race that I'm like training or looking up for. But hopefully, in a few months, I could look back and show the medal or whatever the accomplishment is.
That's absolutely amazing. You love running. I can run, but I can't run so far. Um, I like to walk though, but I know running is
Mhm.
good for cardio, and I would love to get involved in like these organization, like nonprofits to help raise awareness. So maybe one day I'll do it. I would love to run, but there's no way you can see me run like a marathon, nothing like that.
No, but you don't need to do a marathon, Like if you can't do a marathon, no one's telling you to, right? You do it for yourself, for your fitness. Do a 5K, which is only 3 miles. And if that sounds
Yeah,
crazy,
that's that's so easy. 5K is 3 miles.
yeah, exactly. So just do 5Ks. You do the same thing, you'll get your impact in there. And then if you do a 5K and think maybe marathon's realistic, well then, bump it up to a 10K. I don't really see many 8Ks, but there are sometimes 8Ks and do 5K and try an
Yeah,
8K, try a
10K.
10K,
If you
do it
remind me,
all.
how long is 10K?
6.2.
22 miles?
6.2 miles.
Oh, 6.2. See?
Yeah.
Whew, sorry.
So five K it's 3.1. So, even if you're new to running and slow, you'll probably do it in, maybe like half an hour, a little over half an hour if you're like fairly fresh. As long as you're not walking, should be about half an hour to 45 minutes on like the absolute slow end of things. So then that puts the 10K at about, people that don't run, and as long as you don't walk at any point, probably do it like an hour or so, and then you just build your way up. But that's only if you're like not fit, you don't run at all, someone like you who said you can walk, you kind of run, you probably do it even faster. So it's definitely not as intimidating as they sound, especially for non-runners. You just start with what you can. If you can't do 3 miles, you do two. If you can't do two, you do one. If you can't do one, you do half. If you can't do half, you do a quarter. And if you can't even run a quarter mile, then walk a quarter mile, then walk a
Right.
half mile.
That's
Just
so
just
true.
walk what you can, right? Like if distance scares you, try time, right? Like can you walk for a minute straight? And I think that's very easy for people that just 1 minute of walking. That's like going from your room to your car, right? Try a 1 minute walk, try a 2 minute walk, try a 3 minute walk, and just gradually increase it till you get to a point where you're like, oh, like I'm doing a distance I thought was scary, but I just did it, and then you realize it's all in your head.
Yeah. So true. I totally agree with you. Thank you for sharing all that. Um, and of course, um, you already mentioned your next magician, your, why you became a magician and all that. I just got a curious, has your family so surprised that you're doing successful?
Yeah, I think it's definitely unexpected, even for me. No one expected me to become a magician or magic to enter the family in this way, but it's been a crazy ride the last few years, and it keeps growing.
Yeah.
So excited to
So
see what I add to it.
what would you tell a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old yourself? If you could go back in time, what would you tell a 10-year-old Josh right now?
Uh, I'd say take your soccer training more seriously, and you will go pro, and you'll go pro for longer than you did. So definitely not match related advice.
And I'm just curious because would you tell your 10-year-old that you will be so successful being a magician?
Yeah, 10-year-old me would say no, we're going to be a pro soccer player. I think 10 to 22-year-old me would have that same response, like we're going to be pro soccer. We're not doing match.
I always like to ask actors or actors or singers or like you, a magician, because they always think, wow, you're asking me a question that I really could ask a 10-year-old. So if you could go back in time and you think to yourself, you always tell yourself, like you said, I want to be a soccer player. And then now you go to here and you're like, wow, I never thought I'd see myself being an actor or a director, a producer, or a musician. But you always pause in a moment in your life thinking, wow, what did what happened? What made me do this? So I was just really curious what you would say because I, to be honest, a lot of young kids who are looking up to you or anybody who may be thinking, I want to be like you, but maybe in 10 years from now, they could be a soccer player. I'm just saying, I don't know, but they could be anything. So I think your testimony just shows it that you can be anything if you work hard for
Yeah, I agree. I think you need a structure, you need a plan, and then you go after whatever you want. And if it doesn't, that there's a saying, I don't know if it goes exactly like this, but it's something along the lines of like if the plans change, right, or something changes, you don't change the goal, you just change the plan, right? So you stay with whatever you're targeting, whatever you're striving for, you're still going to go for it. You just go after it a different way if there's a hiccup or something along the way. You're not going to change the goal, you're just going to change the plan to get to the goal.
it. Amen. I totally agree with you, 100%. And is there do you do musician in NBA arenas or eh, halftime shows or anything like that, or just in front of like kids and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I specialize in corporate events and celebrities. That's the bulk of my work. I'm mainly doing those private events for Fortune 500 companies and executives, as well as uh, the various celebrities you see me with. But I also do those halftime type of shows, those sports shows. So I have worked with different sports teams, and they brought me to the stadium. Sometimes it is a halftime show. Sometimes it's on-site activations. So I might go to like a stadium before the sports game, and some of these have like fan activations outside the arena. So you have like I don't know if it's football or soccer, like a mini football field or a mini soccer field for like people to shoot or play and things. And they even have like a stage for VIPs. So sometimes I go on the stage outside the arena or like in the VIP section. And I do like a show for the guests right before they get let into the arena to go to their seats and things. So I've done a mix of things between those sports teams. And yeah, halftime shows are fun. I don't do them say, frequently or regularly. They just kind of pop up. But I take the opportunities that come. I love doing it. So when people reach out to me, I'm always going to ask, what is it? When is it? Where is it? And then we see what we can work out.
That's amazing. I'm so excited and I can't wait for to see what your next adventure is from now on. So I do appreciate that. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. Before I answer where they can find me, I will say my next adventure, I think, would just be finishing this week. Today's Monday. So the week would just be a few normal shows that people don't really get to see. Those are the private stuff, but they'll probably hear about tomorrow's dinner with the kids. I usually like to make it known with that because then it's always one thing like, do I post the kids I'm with? But then I always think I always got out of that moment where like you do it for the cause, not for the awareness. But by letting people know that like, hey, I did something for kids with trauma, I think it's important to let people know that because other times people will see that maybe they relate or that and they want to donate. So if there's a way that I can gain attention for the causes, then I think that's important to use my platform for that. So I try to make people see what kind of charities I'm involved with, the things I'm doing. So I think that's one of the next things people will see, or at least I'll make a mention of it after tomorrow. And then the language series, I'm adding another video to it. So I on YouTube currently have the Sweden video up and the Indonesian video up. I'm going to do a Portuguese video next. This weekend, I'm going to go to a Brazilian run club, and it's like they have a run at 9 a.m. It's a 5K run, and then at 10, when most of the people finish, they have like a party with a DJ and snacks and sponsors. So I'm teaming up with them for like a fitness and culture cause. So the fitness aspect, we're all running, and then I'm just going to be doing my street magic with them in Portuguese, and then hopefully get a video in Portuguese up. So that's probably the next project people will see me post, or unless I post a video between now and then. And then, yeah, well, people can find me. I'm Josh Pele Magic. You can find me Josh Pele Magic on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok, on Twitter, on YouTube. I think my biggest ones are Instagram and YouTube. That's the most consistent postings, all socials, and then LinkedIn as well, Josh Pele.
Well, thank you, Josh Pele. I'm so excited for you doing your organization with the kids again. And, it's not, it's for the cause. It's bring awareness. And, that's the most important for me to hear that, to bring happiness to the kids and let the community know that this is what you are doing or anybody else is doing for the kids in the
Absolutely.
community and bring this happiness to bring happy to their heart,
Yeah,
and
that's
let
the
them know
goal.
there's good in the world.
Absolutely. You just gotta start by helping one person, and one turns to two, two turns to four. And, the snowball effect is real, and we want it to roll. Especially now, as there's where I live, we had so much snow. It's a perfect reminder, like make your own snow.
Yes. And where are you based out of?
So I'm in New York and New Jersey area. So I mainly operate in the tri-state area when I'm not traveling or on tour. So people can find me hopefully at a public show. I don't do as many public shows as I like just because of the travel regime, but I do have things that pop up where people can find me and get tickets. So hopefully, if anyone listening sees me, please come to one of the shows. If you see me in the streets or anything, feel free to say hi. And hope to perform for you all in person one day.
Yes, everybody needs to follow Josh. And I bet it snowed so much in New York.
Yeah, I think all around there's like different areas got like 10 inches, five. It's a lot. But I mean, growing up, we had snowstorms. I think nowadays with the media, I think people exaggerate headlines to get more eyes on things. Like when I was a kid, we had snowstorms. I mean, the same areas where I grew up. I think we had the same kind of snowstorms, if not worse. People were ravaging the grocery stores for one day, and now like some of these grocery stores are raided, like COVID kind of raid. There's everything cleared, and it's crazy to me because I'm like, this is not as bad as when I was little, and like it wasn't even that bad. Like there's not terribly much snow. It's icy, it's dangerous, but I mean that's weather. If it rains, you have to be careful as well, right? Like it wasn't that bad. We didn't lose power. We didn't go, and it was only a day. Like it rained yesterday. I mean, it snowed yesterday. There was no snow today. You just have to clean up your
Right.
cars. Like
All I know when New York gets a snowstorm, it gets a snowstorm.
yeah, I think if you're not used to it, maybe it's a lot. But I think a lot of the people here, it's like, come on, like you lived through this, it's not that bad. You don't need to be at Costco and all these stores the night before stocking up for a week. Like it was one day. Like it's not that big of a deal, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
totally agree with you. Just one day, 100%. Well, thank you again, Josh, for coming on. And
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to speaking with you again. And
Yeah, absolutely,
I'm going to look for you on Instagram and we're going to follow each other and support each other.
absolutely. Thank you so
And
much
I
for
would
having
love to
me.
have you back on.
100%. I'd love to be back.
Well, thank you again, Josh, and I will talk to
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.